Hi guys, welcome to lesson 2 for unit 2, which is representing ratios with diagrams. We are going to build on to what we learned yesterday just a little bit by learning how to draw better pictures of our ratios or diagrams. So to start out, there are 4 problems that I want you to just kind of try and solve mentally. So start with 24 divided by 4 and see if you can solve that mentally. Then move on to 1/4 times 24, 24 times 1/4, and 5 divided by 4. Pause the video, take a couple minutes to figure those out, and then come back when you're ready. All right, hopefully you had enough time. 24 divided by 4 is equal to 6, and you can think of that as 6 times 4 equals 24. Okay, 1/4 times 24 is also equal to 6. Because if you take 24 divided by 4, you would get 6 in each group, and since you have one group, that'd be 6. 24 times 1/4 is also equal to 6, because we can multiply in any order we want to. 5 divided by 4 is a little bit tricky. We might have had some different answers. One possible answer would just be 5/4. You know that 5 is your dividend, so it can go in the numerator, and 4 is the divisor, so it would be in your denominator. Or people might have even put 1, remainder 1. Either one is just fine. All right, we are going to look at a collection of snap cubes for activity 2. It says to choose 2 different colors in the image and draw a diagram showing the number of snap cubes for these colors. I'm going to do one example with you, and then you can do one on your own if you'd like to. So I am going to use the red as an example and green. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red. I'm going to draw those as boxes. And we have 2 green. So I'm going to draw those as triangles. So we have 5 red and 2 green. Alrighty. Now what I'm going to do, we're not going to trade papers with a partner. We're just going to do this on our own. But we're going to write a sentence describing the ratio shown here. If you are unsure of how to write a sentence, if you look at your lesson 1 packet from yesterday, we're going to use those 3 sentence stems that we practiced in lesson 1. So one possible sentence would be the ratio of red to green is 5 to 2. Now remember, 5 comes first because that's the number of red, and red comes first in the sentence. Green comes second because it's second in the sentence. Okay, that's one possible sentence you could write. We could also write there are 2 green for every 5 red. And remember, we can always flip-flop the colors in different orders, and there are a whole bunch of different ratios we could write. Those are just 2 good examples. When you are ready, you can flip the page. For this next activity, you are going to need to grab a blue highlighter and a pink highlighter. They are over on the counter in pencil boxes. Please just grab one quietly. Do not distract the rest of the class as you walk over there, and make sure that you return your highlighters at the end of the video. So go ahead and hit pause and go get your highlighters. All right, for this activity, we are going to use our highlighters to help us write and think about our ratios. So we're going to highlight our white paint cups in pink and the blue in blue. So it says that Alina mixed 2 cups of white paint with 6 tablespoons of blue paint. And here's a diagram to show what she did. It says to discuss the following statements and circle those that are correctly described. So let's take a look at A. The ratio of white cups to the ratio of tablespoons of blue paint, so white to blue, is 2 to 6. The order is so important with ratios, and that's why we're using highlighters to help us realize that pink came first, so our pink number has to come first. Blue is second, so the blue has to come. If we look up here, yes, we do have 2 pink, or I guess white, technically in this example, and we have 6 blue. So ratio A would be correct. Okay. For B, it says for every cup of white paint, there are 2 tablespoons of blue paint. So if we had just 1 cup of white, how many blue would we have? Well, if we divide them into equal groups here, you can see that there are actually 3 groups. So sentence B is wrong because this should say that there are 3 tablespoons of blue paint. Sentence C says for 1 cup of white paint, there are 3 tablespoons of blue. If we look at our groupings up here, we see that that is true. So we can circle C. D says that for every 3 tablespoons of blue paint, there is a cup of white paint. So this is pretty much the same sentence as C. They just flipped-flopped the order a little bit. You can see here it went white and then blue, and in sentence D it goes blue and then white. But the numbers are correct, so we can circle D. For each tablespoon of blue paint, there are 3 cups of white paint. So if we only have 1 blue, would we have 3 white? No, that is false. Okay, in this example, what they did wrong was they switched their numbers around. Okay, this would mean that there's 1, and not for each, it'd be for 3 tablespoons of blue paint. There is 1 of white paint. All right, for every 6 tablespoons of blue paint, there are 2 of white. So if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blue, would we have 2 white? Yes, we would, so that is correct. And the last one, the ratio of tablespoons of blue paint to white paint is 6 to 2. Go ahead and check our order. Blue's first, so do we have 6? 6, and white is second. So 2, 1, 2, that would be correct. So we can circle sentence G as well. All right, let's move to question 2. It says that Jada mixed 8 cups of flour with 2 pints of water to make a paste for an art project. And they'd like us to draw a diagram. So we have 2 categories, flour and water. And we have 8 of flour. Remember, your diagrams do not have to be realistic. They can be simple like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 flour and 2 pints of water. So let's use circles for water. All right. And now we need to write 2 sentences describing the ratio. I want you to try these on your own. Use these sentences up here as examples to help yourself. Okay, when you're ready, come back and you can check your answers. Okay, hopefully you had enough time to write down your sentences. I have a couple examples here. They're not the only possible answers, but they're just some to get you started. So one possible answer could be for every 8 cups of flour, there are 2 pints of water. You might have also wrote the ratio of water to flour is 2 to 8. And if you notice, my last sentence is a little bit different. It says there are 4 cups of flour for 1 pint of water. How I got this was by dividing our flour and water into 2 equal groups. So if I have 1, 2, 3, 4 flour, I can put them in a group with 1 water. And that leaves me with a second group of the exact same thing. So we just split them evenly. Don't worry if that's a little bit tricky. We'll get into that more in our next lesson. This spaghetti card sort activity, we're going to skip this page for now. Do not cross it off because we're going to do it Wednesday together in class. So do not cross off this page. Just leave it blank and flip to the next page. So we're going to talk about the summary here. For today's lesson, there are some important things that we need to remember. First of all, ratios can be represented using diagrams. Okay, these are two examples of diagrams, and they do not need to be realistic. Remember, I told you I'm a terrible artist. They do not have to be realistic. At the bottom of your page, I'd like you to complete this sentence. One important thing I learned today is, and then go ahead and complete that with something important you learned today. It could be about the way our diagrams look. It could be about the order of when we write ratio sentences. Anything important from today's lesson. When you're done, have the sub check your notes. Then they will give you the homework for today, and those homework problems are due tomorrow. You will be handing them in.